What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Mega Evolutions, talk about the card prices after release, and we're going to compare it to Destined Rivals because I put a video out about 48 hours after the release of Destined Rivals, and I just want to compare the prices in Mega Evolutions to Destined Rivals. But before we get to that, we do have to do our daily shill of Prismatic Evolutions. The regular ETBs are up to almost $137 on TCG Player. And if you come in here and look at sales data, there have been a couple sales over $140 or right at the 140 mark. So crazy growth on this product. At this point, I think somebody is going to have to order a wellness check on Joey. Just make sure that he's all right and doing okay. Obviously, we don't want anyone to commit self-harm at this point, especially over Pokemon cards. Now, the Umbreon EX, I did want to bring this up as well, just because I think in yesterday's video, I said that it was around $1,150, $1,200, but the most recent sales from today, two at $1,200 approximately, and then one sale at $1,375. So there may still be a bit of room for the Umbreon to go, maybe gets closer to $1,300, $1,400. But with that out of the way, we can move into Mega Evolutions, and we'll start with the booster box price. So the enhanced version is going for about $305 on TCG Player. The unenhanced is going for around $300. So pretty much negligible, the difference between these two currently. If you ask me, personally, this is just my opinion, I'm not a huge fan of the split releases, one having a box topper and one not. I would rather they just do it all for one set or just don't do it at all. And, maybe can make you an argument if they do a better job with the release, it flows better, kind of like Journey Together. But the issues that I've seen around this release, I was just watching Brian's video a couple days ago with some of the booster boxes showing up with like German wrap or whatever. So things are just ridiculous at this point with the release of Mega Evolutions. But when we look at the cards inside, they're doing pretty well in terms of market price. So you have the gold cards up top, $500 on the Gardevoir, Lucario $550. These might eventually swap. I don't know what's going to happen there. This is very early sales data. You have the Mega Gardevoir EX around $320, the Mega Lucario around $270. Then you have Mega Latias, which I actually love this card, around $240. Then you have the Venusaur around $200. So very deep set out the gate. And what I want to show you guys is when I put out my video on June 1st about Destined Rival sales data, up top you had the Mewtwo around $320. You had Cynthia's Garchomp around $200. The Ho was around $170. Moltres was around $150. And then dropped all the way down. The Nidoking was around $90. Crobat was around $80. Then you had Ethan's Adventure, the gold Team Rocket's Mewtwo. You had Misty Psyduck, and then Team Rocket's Giovanni. Those were your top 10 cards in Destined Rivals about 48 hours after release. And they had a total value there, the top 10 value, of around $1,200, $1,250 USD. Now, when we look at Mega Evolutions, the top three cards have more than $1,250 in terms of value. And when we look at the top 10 cards in the set, there is a value of, I believe, about $2,500 currently, which is about double or more than double what Destined Rivals had at the same time period for the top 10 value after a release. So I'm not here trying to say that Mega Evolutions, this base set or whatever you want to call it, it's better than Destined Rivals. I'm simply saying that at the same time period after release, Mega Evolutions is doing fairly well compared to Destined Rivals in terms of the card values. And it's a lot deeper than just Gardevoir and Lucario. I know those are the top four cards, but again, you have the Latias, which I think is a great artwork. You have the Venusaur, fairly popular Pokemon. Lily's in there as well. So in terms of like waifu, outside of Misty, Lily's probably one of the top picks that Pokemon could throw into a set. The Mega Absol, I love this card. It's a beautiful artwork. You have Kangaskhan as well, Acerola's Mischief, Lieutenant Surge, and then you have some decent IRs. You have this Marshadow that's going for around $40. You have the Ivysaur in here as well, going for the mid-30s. Then you have Bulbasaur, and a couple other ones like the Vulpix. I also like the Steelix down here, which is fairly cheap. It's only like $10, $15, but the set is fairly deep. And I know for a lot of people, Scarlet and Violet base set for the longest time, people considered as the new best base set in Pokemon. Now, this isn't officially a base set, I don't believe, but if people wanted to consider it a base set, it's probably a lot better than SV base in terms of the cards inside of it. Just having those gold card chases up top, and then also those really strong SIRs I think that it really isn't even a contest. Most people wouldn't contest that. But I think that this is going to be a set where when we look back at it in maybe, I don't know, 3 to 4 years from now, there are going to be people regretting not building a position in this. And I'm not saying that you have to start building your position now and buying a ton of boxes at $300 USD. I will say though that if you bought Destined Rivals at $300 USD, even $350, you're doing fairly well already because those boxes are up to around 450 bucks. So with Mega Evolutions only being around what, $300 a booster box, I'm sure you can probably get a better deal as well locally. And considering that as well, that the top 10 card value is almost double what Destined Rivals was at the same time after release, it might even make sense buying some boxes around $300. And that's ridiculous, but we really are in a new normal. So even though a year ago, a year and a half ago, you could pre-order boxes at like $100 USD, now we have to pay 3x that, it still might make sense, guys. You really have to put the past behind you. You have to forget about the prices you were paying back then if you were there in the hobby. And a lot of people are struggling to do that. I mean, I do sometimes watch Opossum Bud, Kira sometimes. I also watch Rattle. And honestly, like all of those people that are kind of against investing in the hobby, they poke fun at Investor Bros and they think all of this is just sneakerheads at this point. They really ignore that we aren't in the same place we were 5 years ago in terms of outside money coming into the hobby. Demand for Pokemon is just on a different level. Rip and ships are on a different level. Again, I've talked about Wenzel TCG before on the channel. I watch their live streams a lot just because I think they're entertaining. They've really actually combined, and it's interesting too. This is something that I don't think a lot of people talk about, but in terms of rip and ship culture, there's kind of a tie into like ASMR, if you guys know what that is. And they do a really great job of like keeping it fast and going. I know some streams are a lot slower and you don't really get that effect, but they're so efficient. It kind of makes sense to me why a lot of people are watching their streams. And I know that's a tangent, but the point being, right, there are a lot of people in this hobby that are just ignoring the factors and what has actually changed from 2021 to 2025 in terms of the investing side of the hobby and why things are more expensive. I think in Rattle's video yesterday, he said Mega Evolutions was going to be close to like $100 in the future and you're going to be able to buy this booster box. The odds that this booster box right here, that's $300, ever gets down to $100, I would say is less than like 1%. I just don't think that will ever happen. There's just way too much money in the hobby. And also people that have money on the sidelines. Again, like I've been talking to a lot of people that have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars ready to deploy on Pokemon. If we ever saw a booster box, I think even get below like $150, $180 at this point, it doesn't matter what set it is, people would just eat that up instantly and it would just be gone. But at the same time, I understand why these people say that because they're pandering to their base, their audience, the people that make them money in terms of ad revenue and support their channel. So it makes sense in my mind why they would say that. I'm sure that a lot of them don't even believe half of what they're saying, but they say it anyways just for that reason. And again, I could be entirely wrong. I mean, time will tell what's going to happen with a set like Destined Rivals, with a set like Mega Evolutions 1. But I think when you have these cards that are this expensive out the gate, the demand for Pokemon is just at an all-time high. The demand for the investing side of the hobby is also at an all-time high. The confidence level is at an all-time high. I just don't see any type of path back to where booster boxes would get back to around $100. There'd have to be so much that happens for us to even consider that possibility that we shouldn't even bother having the conversation at this point because it's just not realistic. But as always, you guys let me know in the comment section down below what you think, whether you agree or disagree. If you got some value out of this content, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. Again, leave a comment down below for the algorithm. I hope you're having a great weekend. Stay safe wherever you guys are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.